Hey everyone. So, if you're getting into cybersecurity, you've probably asked yourself, how do I actually practice ethical hacking without, breaking everything? Especially when you're sharing laptops or a network. Well, today we're going to solve that exact problem. Let's get into it.
So you're ready to learn penetration testing. That's awesome. But there's that little voice in the back of your head, right? How do you practice breaking into stuff safely? How do you sharpen your skills without accidentally wiping your roommate's hard drive or taking down the entire coffee shop Wi-Fi? Believe me, it's a valid concern, and we are going to tackle it head on.
And that brings us to what I like to call the hacker's dilemma. To get really good at this stuff, you absolutely need a practice lab, a digital sandbox where you can mess up, try again, and actually learn. But yeah, setting one up isn't always as easy as it sounds.
Okay, check this out. On one hand, you've got the dream setup, the Pro Lab. Think of it like a personal, high-tech fortress. It's totally isolated, super powerful, but also crazy complex and expensive to build. Then there's reality for most of us, the student lab. It's simple to set up, cheap, or even free, but it's got this one massive catch. It's shared. And that one little detail, well, it changes everything.
So yeah, this shared lab is where a ton of us get our start. Maybe it's a classroom network, or you and your friends are all huddled around the same Wi-Fi. It's super accessible, which is fantastic for learning. But, and this is a big but, that accessibility comes with some real hidden dangers.
And I'm not just being dramatic when I say peril. Seriously, when you've got a bunch of people all learning, all launching their own scans and running exploits on the same network, you have the perfect recipe for what's basically digital friendly fire. Your practice session can turn into absolute chaos real fast.
And what does that chaos actually look like? Well, we're talking about running a simple test that accidentally boots everyone else offline. Or you could step all over someone else's experiment, ruining their work. Even worse, you could accidentally cause data loss. And for you, your own results become totally unreliable and you waste your time trying to figure out why the network is broken instead of actually learning to hack.
I love this analogy because it just hits the nail on the head. You wouldn't walk into a kitchen you share with roommates, start throwing flour everywhere, use all their stuff, and then just walk away, right? Of course not. A shared lab requires the exact same level of respect. It's all about being a professional.
Okay, so if the network is our shared kitchen, we need something safe to practice our cooking on. We need a designated target. And this is where a classic tool for any beginner comes in, Kioptrix.
Put simply, Kioptrix is a digital punching bag. It's a virtual machine that was intentionally built to be weak, full of security holes. It is designed for you to attack it. This gives you a safe, and just as important, a legal target to aim all your tools at, so you're not poking around where you really shouldn't be.
All right, so we've got our shared lab and we've got our safe target. But how do we make sure they play nicely together? Well, it all boils down to professionalism and what we're going to call the rules of restraint.
And I really want to pause on this for a second. This is not just some boring checklist. Truly understanding this stuff is what separates a real security pro from a script kiddie. Someone who just downloads tools and fires them off without a clue about the damage they can cause. This is about building a professional mindset. So here they are, the 3 simple rules to live by. First, isolate your playground. In your virtual machine software, you can set up something called a host-only network. Think of it like putting up a digital wall so your attacks can only hit your target, the Kioptrix machine, and nothing else can leak out onto the main network. Second, and I cannot stress this enough, know your target. Double-check the IP address, then triple-check it. Make absolutely sure you are aiming at the Kioptrix VM and not your instructor's laptop. And finally, leave no trace. A pro always cleans up their mess. When you're done, revert the machine to a clean snapshot. Don't leave your files behind. Reset the lab so it's fresh for the next person.
Now, following these rules might feel like a little extra work up front, but trust me, the payoff is huge. It creates the perfect foundation for learning that is actually safe and, more importantly, effective.
Remember that potential for chaos slide we looked at earlier? Well, this is the polar opposite. When you practice restraint, you get a safe, controlled environment. Your experiments suddenly become repeatable and reliable, which is the only way you're going to learn anything. You help create a collaborative space built on respect, and you start building the kind of professional discipline that's priceless in this industry.
Because at the end of the day, anyone can learn how to run a script, but knowing when to run it, where to aim it, and really understanding the potential collateral damage, that's what takes you from being someone who just has skills to being someone who has wisdom.
So I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. Who's the better hacker? The person with all the fanciest, most powerful tools, or the one with the discipline and the foresight to use their tools like a surgeon uses a scalpel? The answer to that question, right there, is what defines a true security professional. Thanks for tuning in.